welcome to the second episode of Venus Angelic Expansion. If you haven't seen my first one, it's just an introductory of what topics I'm going to be touching on throughout the course of my podcast. I am Rocio. I wanted to get a lot into some philosophical talk based on my experiences, my journey, and most of it is going to be very spiritual. And for today's topic, I want to touch into what is a spiritual awakening and how that relates to me. I did mention the earth is upgrading energies, moving from the third dimension into the 5-dimensional frequencies. And with that, a lot of people are waking up to their truth, their power, seeing things for what they are and seeing beyond the veil. And I know a lot of that is not pretty, and a lot has to shatter down, a lot has to erupt, explode for it to be healed and released and make room for what is destined, for this necessary, which is unconditional love. With that being said, what is a spiritual awakening? It pretty much is an expanded awareness. It's a release of an old reality into a new one. You become aware of a new sense of purpose. You feel like you don't relate to anything of your past. You question a lot of what you thought was true. You begin to pick up new belief systems. You become even more aware of the spiritual realm. You know that there is more beyond the physical reality. And you start to see that there is more beyond the box that you were put in. It's like you think outside the box, now you're believing and seeing beyond that. And of course there is a lot of confusion, so a lot of questioning and a lot of confusion that is basically triggered with harsh events. There's a lot of introspection, slowing down and reflecting, a call for higher consciousness and awareness. So a spiritual awakening is pretty much a journey to go back to your true self, to return to your true self, your true identity, which is who you are before incarnating as a human being, going back to who you really are before the conditions. Before you can ascend into your spiritual awakening, you have a dark night of the soul. Now, what is a dark night of the soul? It can show up as in a massive life-changing event, close to death experiences, a breakup, death in the family, accidents, illnesses, existential crisis, losing a job, losing a home, something that is just so sudden and you don't see coming. A dark night of the soul is a phase of personal challenge, transformation. During this time, you may feel a sense of disconnectedness or despair. So it's a challenging time. You may think that you may not get through it. Then you realize that there is light at the end of the tunnel, which then is an ascension into your spiritual awakening, ascension into your spirituality, ascension into your growth, into your divinity. After the phase of the dark night of the soul into the spiritual awakening, you begin to experience a deeper sense of purpose and connectedness. The dark night of the soul is the death phase, and your spiritual awakening is the rebirth. So during this phase, you can realize that there is a sense of reason for it, that it may be happening to you to teach you something, but not everyone will get the grip of it. Some people will fall into victim mode, victimization, thinking, why is this happening to me? When you are more aware, and you actually find that there is a higher purpose for this, you begin to realize that this is happening for me, not to me. When you fall into the victimization role, you think, why is this happening to me? Why can't I ever be happy? But then you begin to create a story where overcoming seems very difficult and solutions don't come easy. And everything is black and white. When you become more aware that things are happening for you, you begin to see color. You begin to see that with every problem that comes up, there is a solution as well. So as you begin to become more consciously aware, you begin to see things you didn't see before. You have better understanding that things need to happen just the way it did. You also see the connection between things, your power, and what you are capable of. You see oneness, interconnectedness, illusion of separation, and the games and the tricks the 3D reality has thrown and made you believe. You begin to see beyond the veil of what is, and that there is more to life. There is more beyond the physical reality. You begin to see truth for what it really is. And the ego begins to let go, begins to lose grip. And throughout the journey, you're going to learn that the death of the ego is important. But really, the power relies in making your ego your friend. Use it to your advantage. It is a tool for you to know where you need to heal, where you need to grow, what you need to let go of, and you can continue to expand and grow. So you don't need to have a death of the ego. You just need to know how to redirect the energy and thoughts, the awareness it is bringing within you. So throughout your spiritual awakening, you will also release old, outdated belief systems and will be replaced with those that are centered around the heart, that are centered around unconditional love. Because that is where it really is. Love moves the world. Unconditional love is vital. Unconditional love is truth, and we are here to embody truth and authenticity. It is time that we stop playing small and we stop showing up for who we truly are. A divine, aware, powerful, conscious being. There is a reason for everything. It is all cause and effect, physically and energetically. There is a reason for everything. Even if you might not see it, even if you may not understand it, there is always a reason for everything, and that reason is always for your highest and greatest good. So all that you're asked to release and letting go of is being dissolved so that you can make room for what is more in alignment with your true being, in alignment with your authenticity and with unconditional love. That you don't need to be afraid of falling. You don't need to be afraid of the lows. You can embrace them. Embrace your lows as you would embrace your highs. They are both essential for your evolution. Like I mentioned before, there is more beyond the veil. There is more beyond the box. Anything and everything is possible. Your connection with the spiritual realm becomes vast. It grows and strengthens more and more despite of what others may think, may want you to perceive. You do not need to go to church to be spiritual. You do not need to go to church or be a part of religion to have a relationship with God, with yourself. It is all coming down to the same source, consciousness. So throughout your spiritual awakening, you will experience as well a lot of signs and synchronicities. You probably will awaken to your psychic gifts and abilities. You'll notice that you are more sensible to energies. A lot of times when we experience anxiety, it's not so much because of us. It may be because we need to work and heal some inner wounds, but sometimes it is because we are absorbing a lot of external energy that is not ours. So when we socialize, we go to social events, parties, gatherings. When we go on social media, you're picking up on a lot of energy that is not yours as well. So you need to learn how to protect yourself. You can do that with visualization. You can call on higher spirits, realms to guide you, to protect you. I am bringing up this because I believe in spiritual beings. I say that because I've had experiences where I can't really deny that the spiritual realm exists. I can't deny my connection with God and these angelic beings. And I will also post up how that started for me. I was born into the Catholic religion. I've always believed to be spiritual, but I've had phases where slowly it had been introducing into a higher level of spiritual awareness until I reached a point where it was just very sudden, and that dived into my spiritual awakening. So the way I can pinpoint this is my mom, sister, and I were involved in a car accident. That was the very first time I felt like I was pushed to dive more into my spirituality. Being in the Catholic religion, I was more called to seek Virgin Mary. I want to say this was in, I think it was 2012, 2013. I was a sophomore. I was in high school, and we were on our way to a doctor's appointment. We never arrived to that appointment. We were on our way. We had about maybe 15 minutes on the freeway when suddenly we got rear-ended, and that rear end hit caused us to spin, and a second vehicle hit us, slammed into us. It was into the driver door. I can just remember that when we got slammed, I freaked out. I was in the backseat by myself. My mom was in the passenger seat at the front, and of course my sister was driving. I was freaking out. I was screaming in the back. I was buckled up. I was trying to get out of my seat into the front seat with my mom and my sister because I was just so afraid. I was so scared. I panicked. The vehicle spun. We spun up a hill towards a freeway entrance, so there was traffic going in, and at that time there were a lot of trailers. And while as we were going up this hill, a lot of dirt started picking up, so we couldn't see outside of the window. Our vision was blocked basically. When that vehicle hit the door, the driver door, I remember the door swung open really harshly, and my sister almost flew out. I saw how half of her body was ready to fly out of the vehicle. This was this really strange thing that happened. Since I was in the backseat, I had pretty much a full view of what was going on, and something pulled onto my sister's arm. I know she grabbed onto the steering wheel to try to pull herself back into the vehicle because she was getting suctioned out. She's trying to grab onto the steering wheel, and suddenly I see her arm go up, but from the back, like, it looked like somebody was grabbing her. And I know it wasn't her, because how was she able to uplift herself that way? That just doesn't make sense when the vehicle is spinning. I literally saw her arm get pulled up. She got pulled up into the vehicle again until it just stopped. And she was grateful. She talked to my mom. She told her, "Thank you for pulling me. If it weren't for you pulling me, I would have flew out," because I felt my body getting suctioned out. And I saw that. She was ready to fly out of the vehicle. But my mom told her, like, "No, mija, I didn't touch you. I didn't grab you. I was trying to unbuckle myself this whole time to grab your sister in the back." And I told her, "Nobody grabbed you, and I saw your arm lifted up, but nobody was grabbing you." And till this day, her and I do not understand how that happened. So initially we knew that this was something more beyond than the physical. Somebody helped her out. We don't know who it was. So being in the Catholic religion, we just said this was something the Virgin Mary did to help us out, or Antonio de Atocha. We began praying a lot to them, being very thankful that they helped us be safe, that we weren't injured, that nothing more escalated during that accident. And luckily for us, when that vehicle stopped and we were facing uphill, there was a firefighter. He was off duty. He had stopped traffic before we had even stopped spinning around, and he had already called the ambulance, the firefighters. We were very grateful that this person had already taken the time to call for help before we were settled in the vehicle. Then we had a second accident that same year. It was just 3 months later, and that accident was far worse than the first one. Our vehicle was totaled, and since every weekend we were going to church because it was our way of saying thank you, our way of showing gratitude to these spiritual beings that helped us during our first accident. We actually went to LA. We were heading back home and we were hit again by two vehicles, and it happened in the same way. We were rear-ended. Actually, there was traffic. Everything was going slowly, so there was really no room for you to go in and out of lanes to get to your destination faster. And I remember my sister looking through the rear view mirror and saying, "Oh, not again." The traffic was not moving, so what she did was turn the vehicle off so that when we got impacted, we wouldn't have more velocity or force moving forward. And as she turned it off, we got rear-ended. It happened so suddenly and fast that we didn't have the time to ask her, why did you say that? So we got hit, we spun. We got a second vehicle hitting us. This time I was in the passenger seat at the front. So when the second vehicle hit, they hit on my side of the door. And I don't know, I think I went unconscious a little bit during the spin, and I felt when we got hit. But I was hearing my younger sister screaming in the back, my mom in the middle seat, trying to calm her down. Because when that second car hit, it sent us into a rollover. So we spun, we hit the middle wall divider of the freeway. When the vehicle slammed into the divider, we started rolling on the opposite side of the freeway. I can remember my sister screaming in the back, my mom trying to calm her down, and that very moment all I did was close my eyes. And when I opened them a little bit, I just saw my older sister cover her face, trying to protect herself from the glass that was breaking and falling inwards. And I don't know, I just kind of was out of it at the same time as everything was happening. I kind of wanted to put myself into a little ball. Remember, my head was hitting very harshly at the very top every time the vehicle spun. These were the longest seconds of my life. I was in just this phase of closing my eyes. Whatever needs to happen will happen. Pretty much at that time, just gave myself my situation to God. I was just like, God, whatever needs to happen, I will not resist to this. I will let you do what you need to do. When the vehicle stopped, all the windows were shattered but one, and it was the window where my younger sister was in the back, panicking, screaming. She was screaming at the top of her lungs. For how harsh that accident happened, we weren't injured badly. We were able to walk out from there. My older sister was the only one that had to get stitched up from the glass coming in. We're like, wow, that is another miracle. We made it alive. That was an accident for us to not have survived. And to have one window not break, and we really thought my younger sister being protected by my uncle. My uncle, the only one out of all my 7 uncles that really looked out for my sisters and I, and unfortunately he passed away when I was about 6 or 7. He was mostly the only father figure I got to experience. Like I mentioned in the introduction, in the first episode, my mom raised us as a single parent. She is the only woman of 7 men. So at that time, she had a brother that looked out for us very much, but unfortunately he passed away. He had a thing of mentioning to everyone and to my mom to take very good care of my younger sister. And we really think that he was there during the accident helping us, and he helped her. I think that was one where that kind of pushed us even more into our spirituality. Then I think those were the most harsh at the time. Then it came in high school when I was going through a phase of really finding out who were my real friends and who weren't. That was my junior year, so that was in 2014. I stopped hanging out with a lot of my friends. Well, a lot of people that I thought were my friends. I didn't seek trying to fit in with other people, so I was that person that would sit on their own during lunchtime, during break time. And I know I began to see 1111. That was the first time I ever saw signs and synchronicities. And at first I didn't think much of it. I just thought, oh, it's 1111, make a wish. Because that's how really I knew it. I never thought of it until I started seeing it every single day, to the point where like, wait, why am I seeing 1111? Why am I seeing 1111? After I graduated, a lot was going on. I was just trying to find myself. You graduate, you're trying to figure out your place in life. Growing up with a single parent, my mom is an immigrant. She had to redirect herself, navigate through life with less resources than people who actually have permission to live here in the US. That also affected me in the sense that we didn't receive much support from her brothers. There was no male figure who was able to help us, and we needed to take on a lot. We had no role models, no one to look up to, no one to ask for advice. My grandma came ill. I adapted the role of taking care of her. Then my mom became ill too, going in and out of hospitals. She was in intensive care unit for several months. She got better, then my grandma fell in sick again. A lot was going on with my mom's brothers. There was a lot of suppression. They really didn't take into consideration our worth as females, as women. So during this phase of healing and recovery for my mom, she did not receive any support from her brothers. They were mentally, emotionally, and verbally abusive. So my mom was dead. We attempted to move out from where we lived to be away from them. Even though my grandma was lingering with health issues, my mom felt bad, but she wanted to prioritize herself and prioritize us as her daughters to be in a safe environment. We attempted moving out. We got help from relatives lived in the northern part of California. We visited them so that we can get to know the environment to see if that was like maybe a good idea to move to. We did. We left my younger sister there so that we can start initiating the process of moving out to there. Never did we think that throughout that journey my sister was gonna do the thing of leaving without telling anybody. Like the news was being brought on to us, we thought, oh my gosh, she got kidnapped. And it was just the very intense, petrifying, terrifying moment of our lives. We couldn't find her, we couldn't locate her until later on somebody was able to locate her and let us know that they were with another family member. It was just a shock. We didn't understand. She cut off communication and I had to deal with mourning the leaving of my sister. We didn't understand the sudden change. She cut off communication. She really shut us out. And being an older sister, that really got to me, like really sent me into introspection where like I started questioning, was I a bad sister? Was I really that bad? Like I was just looking out for her. I was just dealing with that emotional baggage and we couldn't move, so we were dealing with the other baggage of my uncles. A lot just escalated really quickly. I really focus and forgive my grandma and help her out while she was ill. Her health just kept declining and I was in charge in taking care of her. So when my grandma passed away, this event was the one that sent me off into my spiritual awakening really in depth, because I was mourning my sister and I was mourning the death of my grandma. When my grandma passed away, I was like, okay, my sister's gonna come back, but she didn't come back. She didn't reach out. She didn't come to her funeral. It was when it really hit me more. All that pain, all that sadness, I didn't know how to take on. And I was hearing my uncles argue back and forth between each other over my grandma's wealth. So I couldn't deal with that emotionally. I was trying to heal her death. I was trying to heal my sister not being around. I was trying to heal overcoming all the negative talk thinking they had over us. I just couldn't deal with it. It started affecting me physically. I began to become sick. I began experiencing anxiety, panic attacks. I was taken to the hospital because I was so weak. I couldn't move. I couldn't get up on myself. We looked into getting help from a doctor. I experienced my first panic attack at the hospital and nobody did anything to help. So that's when I realized that nobody's gonna save me, nobody's gonna help me. I have to do the healing. I need to take control of these panic attacks because they were coming back to back to the point that my face was numbing. I was not having control over my body. I really felt like I was gonna have a heart attack. It just took a lot of deep healing, inner work, shadow work, and 2 years later my sister came back. Things started working out for me. It did take a lot of work, and there are still some things that I'm still trying to heal and overcome that relates to that time in my life. Looking at where I am now, I have overcome a lot of obstacles. I was able to see the light beyond these events and not let myself be a victim of the circumstances. I know that everything happened for a reason, and it really just clicked in for me. When I was beginning to heal at that time, towards the end of 2019, then I came into union with my twin flame. Will lead into another story. My point in being is that the spiritual awakening faces of spiritual ascension. Dark nights of the soul are not always pretty, and every story is unique. Every journey is unique. But I hope you understand that no matter how dark or difficult circumstances can seem to be, they do not define you. They can help you grow and expand and grow, and you get to choose who you want to be. You get to dictate how much grip these realities, these circumstances have over you. You're a lot stronger than that, and these things don't have control over you. I know that during my spiritual awakening, I began to include affirmations to heal my body, to transmute these fears and pain, because a lot of it was stirring up and showing up into physical illness. So I did a lot of that, and then I began looking into natural remedies. I was going in for massages, for teas. A lot of self-care is very important. You can't expect to heal without doing the work. Know that during this journey, you're not alone. You have your spiritual team and your spiritual guides. During the time where I was beginning to see the light, my angels started showing signs and synchronicities to me a lot more than I did during high school. A lot of angel numbers, but also I began to see a lot of orbs. I began to smell spirits. I began to hear them. Not always, it was just here and there, maybe once or twice. See lights, shadows. I was able to feel them. I started reaching out Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael. This was because I grabbed the Bible. I heard somewhere online said that if you open the Bible and randomly and you land on a page, it's because somewhere in that page there is a message for you. And I remember I opened the Bible 2 or 3 times, and each time I opened it, it would always open on a passage with Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael. And so now I was like, I think I need to connect more to these spiritual beings. And that's what I did. One time I was headed to a park with my family, and on the way to there, I called on to Archangel Michael. I asked for help, and I asked for him to give me a sign that he was with me. I also let it go. Towards the end of the day at the park, there was a cloud in the sky. When you connect to your angels, they send you signs and synchronicities, feathers, to show you that they're with you, and also in clouds. So he took form in the shape of a cloud. I did get to take a picture of it before my phone died. It was a lot more vivid to me in person than what it looked like in the picture. The spiritual realm is very real. From all these experiences I've had, it is very real, and I can't deny that it does not exist. And with that being said, if you guys can relate to my spiritual awakening, please let me know in the comments below. Let me know, what was your spiritual awakening like? What did you experience? How have you felt? What have you overcome? If you're beginning your spiritual awakening, let me know. Like, what are you going through? What do you need help with? I am open and available to answer your questions, to speak on more of my experiences or what I have knowledge on this far. And for the next topic, the next episode, I will be tuning into my twin flame dynamic, and as well another episode going more in depth with the signs and synchronicities. I'm glad to expand more and grow together with everyone who is taking part on my journey with good intentions, pure intentions. So thank you again for tuning in.